Blog number 5 is based on chapter 4 in the Rhetorical Act book, and this one is talks about evidence. So, how exploring the important resources you have as a writer, evidence supporting materials you can use down the line, and then in this chapter, it explains how the resources of evidence are the most basic building blocks of rhetorical action, and we're given two pieces of evidence to be able to judge new kinds of work. And then the first one is what are its logical and empirical strengths and limitations, and then number two is what is its psychological powers. So we're given actually in this reading two stories, and then it's starting off with the first story. It's about a author named, I may be saying this wrong, but last name is used and it's McKeeb, I believe. And the author's story is based on a special moment in history. So according to McKeeb, he claims that it is that we are now facing new kinds of pollution, and then he gives evidence such as nitrogen and naturally occurring being harmless gases and all these other things going on. Although he does have a few weaknesses, and I feel like not enough evidence was kind of provided, in my opinion. But his second story does have a lot of evidence, and mainly his second story has, in my opinion, more statistics. And then this one is about population growth. So how he talks about what is happening with population growth and around the world. So he uses a lot of statistics and numerical resources in his reading, and main questions you should always ask, as in statistics or having this type of evidence, is one question you can ask is how many, how often, or even to make this trustworthy, include years or charts or all these different kinds of numbers, years, to make the writing, if it's writing, logical and trustworthy, because I feel that's very important. And we're given some tips along the way, and then some good tips are supporting materials that show truth of a claim is one, being clear, number two, being vivid, number three, being concrete, and this all will lead to a trustworthy claim that someone has to give. And then also types of evidences, psychological appeals, rhetorical appeals, the usual primary strengths and primary weaknesses, and categories, which are 5 demonstrated in the book of evidence, and that is visuals, stories, statistics, expertise, and analysis. So all this kind of ties into evidence, supporting evidence, and all this stuff. And I think it's basically true. In order to give a claim or say something, you kind of have to have that supporting evidence in the background, because people are going to be like, how do I know if this is true? How do I know that this is the right thing? And is this not made up, or maybe scams or something like that? But reading this, I thought that evidence was a very important thing as rhetorical acts and analysis, and using this to back up anything that you have.